We are joined now by one of our news photographers. I apologize. We're kind of sorting this all out on air. Alan, you were downtown all day. Were you posted at the Alamo? Or
yes, I was actually. And as you mentioned yourself, this has been a very chaotic situation for everybody involved. It really started off very peacefully. And I think that's what a lot of people really wanted it to be overall. But some type of instigation or something came along that drove a lot of people over to the Alamo. One thing led to another, and we ended up on multiple occasions having to run away from the Alamo for various reasons, either because I've heard situations where one person ended up discharging a fire extinguisher. I can't confirm that, but I believe our Randy Beamer did actually say that. Other situations where we heard pops, noises, a lot of frantic situation overall. It's very it was a little disheartening, of course, because, again, it seemed like everybody really wanted to make this as peaceful as possible, peacefully marching through the streets past the public headquarters. And unfortunately, you can see now it really turned out to be a little bit something more than what we all expected.
Well, Alan, you were there. Why don't you walk me through the timeline? So from what I understand, this started out, let's say, around 4 or 5 o'clock, where you had the Texas Freedom Force, the people, the nonprofit, they're armed, they're standing guard over the cenotaph, making sure that there's no vandalism, and they're by themselves more or less for an hour or so. And then there's the other group, the Justice for George Floyd March, the rally that's making its way through downtown, large turnout for that rally that started at Travis Park and then makes its way downtown. So eventually, after they leave the police station, they make their way over to the Alamo. And from what I remember, that was the first point where you really see police kind of getting involved, really separating those groups, keeping them apart. Is that what you noticed?
Exactly. And I want to preface this first by saying that the president of the Texas Freedom Force actually, he made it clear, because we actually interviewed him before all this, he made it clear that they had no relation. They did not want to interfere in any way with what was going on over at Travis Park. They were simply there to make sure that no vandalism occurred to the cenotaph. They had been working on this for many, many months. But as you mentioned, things did escalate to a point, and SAPD were actually about a block away. They did already have men stationed, but it seemed like they were intent to make it clear that they were trying to make this as peaceful as possible overall. But as the numbers continued to grow, the more and more people joined in, a lot of chants started happening, a lot of confrontation started happening. I think SAPD really realized that they needed to try to take a grasp of this if possible. And again, we were doing live streams through our Facebook and just really trying to get set the scene exactly. And that's when the first rush of people just completely ran out. I think it was through Trinity. I'm not entirely certain of the street, but they rushed out, and we just grabbed our equipment and ran as quickly as we could to make sure that no one was hurt. And that happened again about a half hour later as well. And really at that point, you started to realize that things were getting a lot more tense over there at the Alamo.
All right, Alan, News 4 photojournalist, we really appreciate you being the eyes and ears on the ground today for us there at the Alamo. Speaking of eyes and ears, News 4 San Antonio's Delaine Mathieu joining us live downtown. We saw you on air dealing with the after effects of that tear gas. How are you doing, and what's going on right now?
Fine. The air has cleared. SWAT has done exactly what they set out to do, and that is thin the crowd. And I can tell you, Robert, nobody's around here now. About 20 cans of tear gas flew, rubber bullets flew, and we ran. We took refuge in my car here in the parking lot at Alamo and Travis. It escalated again after you saw me explain the tear gas situation, when another group here at the intersection stormed a police car. They went after it. They threw some fireworks, some loud fireworks. SWAT immediately descended upon that intersection. Rubber bullets flew, more canisters flew, but they dispersed the crowd. So every time that happens, the crowd dissipates. So that tear gas does exactly what it's designed to do. It hurts, it's brutal, it thins the crowd. So what they've managed to do now, right behind me, you can see the SWAT team. They are all standing about because they've managed to move. If you can see past that, through that parking lot, that's another line of SWAT, okay? So these guys here to the left, they're relaxed right now because they go in waves, they push the crowd back. So you can see the wave of protesters just being pushed through the downtown area. It's very methodical and it's scary. For a lot of people here, it's scary. I mean, people people were running, and we did see some big guns out here. Some protesters were armed. Second Amendment right here in Texas, but it concerned a lot of people, and so SWAT fired off those canisters and those bullets, those rubber bullets, and it thinned the crowd. So they've moved all the way, almost to 37 now. So that's where we stand right here at the intersection. It's much quieter now, and the tear gas has gone away. Robert.
That's very good insight. We really do appreciate you spending this time out there. We know you don't have to be there. You chose to go down there and be in the middle of this. So we do really appreciate you taking the time to give us this perspective. We know it's a very evolved